What's going on, guys? Oregon Motorcycle back with another episode. Today's episode we're doing a wash and chain maintenance. I like to do my chain maintenance when I wash the bike. I think it's a good interval, that kind of thing. As you can see here, the bike is super dirty, and it's past due for chain maintenance and a wash. So you can just see how dirty like the wheel is, everything. I've been riding this thing in the rain and even in the mud, and I haven't washed it probably a couple of weeks or whatever. So let's start with some of the things I'm going to be using here. I got a couple of brushes here. This is a chain specific cleaner brush or whatever you want to call it, and they're nylon. You don't ever want to use any like metal wire brushes or anything on your motorcycle or your chain. It could damage the O-rings and scratch the paint or scratch the plastic, whatever. Then I just have a regular nylon brush here to assist with some of the scrubbing that we're going to do on the bike that I'll show you guys later. Oh yeah, and I'm not using a pressure washer. Okay, so we're going to get this bike spotless right now without a pressure washer. The next thing is the WD-40, which we'll be using on the chain. Simple green for engine and suspension parts. Chain guard, which is the lube for the chain. We're going to finish everything up with a little bit of spray cleaner and polish, and just regular detergent soap. I know a lot of you guys are going to comment that this is, it strips your wax and blah, 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 blah. We are going to hit it afterwards with a little bit of wax, so it's not going to be the end of the world. There's not much paint on this bike, and honestly, I don't care. This is really good soap. It's a good degreaser, so it's going to really excel like around the engine and that kind of thing. So I like to use that instead of like a car-based wash or soap that is designed to not strip wax off the paint. So like I said, I'm not worried about stripping the wax off this paint. There's only like 3 panels that are painted, and like I said, we're going to hit it with some spray wax afterwards, so it's not the end of the world. Here I have a sponge. You guys can use like a rag or whatever, but I just have this sponge. If you're using a sponge like this, you make sure you want to hose it off really good before you use it, so anything that has accumulated from a prior wash is washed out, because like, you can get grit and grime or sand in here, and if you're washing your paint with it, then it can scratch the paint. Then I have some rubber gloves here that are optional. If it's cold outside, I like to use the rubber gloves. So let's jump into it. We're going to start first with cleaning the chain. I like to get the chain clean because a lot of times you'll drip oil on some of the things, and so it's good to wash it after you do the chain maintenance, in my opinion. So let's get started. All right, so as far as cleaning the chain, I like to use WD-40 to clean the chain with. This was recommended actually by a motorcycle shop, and they said they swear by it. They use this, and if you guys are on the road, you can actually use this as cleaner and a lubricant. WD-40 is good for, I'd say, approximately 250 miles until you have to lube it again. So it doesn't last that long, but it does make a decent chain lube if you guys are in a pinch. The thing about using this when you're on the road is you guys can buy the small cans, and then basically, it fits in your pocket, and you have chain lube on the go. You could lube it, after your ride each day, or even in between. I've done that before when I went on my trip to California. This makes this, like I said, WD-40 is a great cleaner, besides being, somewhat of, a lot of people say it's not a lubricant, it's not a proper oil, blah, 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 whatever. But we're not going to get in that discussion right now. So basically, I just like to spray the chain down like that. And I have to do this in sections because I don't have spools on the back of the bike to lift it up on a stand, so it's kind of a pain right now, but I might get some spool adapters on the back. So what I do is I soak it down like that in the WD-40, and then I take my brush here and I just give it a good scrub on both sides. So you make sure you get all 4 sides. And this chain might be a little loose. This is a good time to check your chain tension, and that does seem a little bit loose. I might tighten it up a little bit here, but just give it a nice scrub back and forth. And then after that, take a rag here, and then you can wipe off all that greasy, grimy stuff off. And as you can see, it comes pretty clean there. And if you were on the road and doing this, what I would do is now I'd put another little layer of WD-40 over it, since we wiped quite a bit of it off right now, if you were using it for a lubricant, but we're not. So yeah, I'm gonna roll this bike back. I'm gonna get the whole chain cleaned and then check back with you guys, and we'll do the lube. All right, so as you can see, we got the chain pretty clean. You know, you just, like I said, you take your rag, wipe off all the excess that you scrubbed off with the WD-40. And we have the chain lube here now. Make sure you shake it up good. It's got a ball in there so you can shake it. And a little straw here. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna apply just a little thin, quick coat on the inside portion of it only. Just try to make it even, you know, and just go and something like that right there. And that's all you need. That's it. And that'll do the trick. And if you guys have any excess, you know, you can wipe a little bit of it off. But basically the thing is just putting a little single bead on the inside part of it only, and that'll get you done. And so as you can see here, we got quite a bit of oil and cleaner or whatever on the rim. And this is one of the reasons why I like to do my chain maintenance right before I wash the bike. So let's get into washing the bike. Oh, one more thing, guys. While you're doing that and you're spinning your tire, you can get the sprocket too. Clean the sprocket with WD-40, and that'll help get a lot of the grime and grease off too before we get into the actual cleaning. We're gonna wash and clean and scrub everything on the bike, but we're not going to mess with the chain at all because the chain's obviously clean and we don't wanna scrub all the lube off that we just put on there. It's gonna be okay if it gets hit with water or whatever. So, all right, let's get into washing it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our water hose here and we're gonna blast all the undercarriage, so to speak. So we wanna get and just hose off all the underneath, hose off around your brakes, back there in the suspension where all the crap gets slung up there, you know, blast really good around the engine, around the exhaust and all that good stuff. And then we'll moisten the top. I don't really blast the top area here. I do get it moist and do a light cleaning on the top portion, but mainly, you know, we're focused on where the dirty parts are down here and that kind of thing, and where we're going to be scrubbing with our simple green. But yeah, first thing we want to do is get the bike wet and blast most of the stuff, much as we can, get most of that stuff off. So let's get into it. Alright guys, now that we got our hosed off and we got any of the chunks or anything off that we could, we got most of it done at what we could with the water hose. We're going to take our simple green now. We're going to go around the lower portion of the bike and do some detail scrubbing with the simple green. I like to use a simple green. I think it's a decent cleaner and it does degreasing okay. I recommend, as you can see, the sun's out and the sun is on this side. I recommend starting on the shaded side. And this goes good for cars too. That way the sun doesn't dry what you're trying to scrub off, because if it dries when you're scrubbing, you pretty much got to do it over and scrub again. And do like small sections at a time. That way you're not, you know, you can stop and then hose off what you got done and then go to another section and so on and so on. What we are going to do first though is I'm going to blast this rear wheel pretty good and maybe let that soak in a little bit while we're doing some other scrubbing on the other side, because this back wheel is really dirty. So we'll just let that soak in for a little bit. And we'll come to this side, start here on the back brake and the swing arm, get around the muffler. Yeah, this little pouch here for my disc lock is working pretty good. I've been carrying the disc lock in this pouch on the bike for the past week or two. If you guys haven't checked that video out, check it out. It is right there. I'll link it there. But yeah, this pouch is working out great. Anyways, so yeah, we'll just do like the back section first. Get a nice little chunk here. You guys can see these scrapes right here. That's from when I dropped it. So anyways, let's get our brush here and just start doing some scrubbing. I like to go around and get as much scrubbing as I can. And I just basically scrub, you know, as much as I can all around the bike, all the mechanical parts, all that good stuff. Do not do this on your paint, because it will scratch the paint. So just keep it to the metal stuff, mechanical stuff. And you get a good lather going with a good scrub brush, and you get it 95% clean with just using this technique without using a pressure washer. So scrub up the exhaust goes good. You get most of those black dots off and so on and so on. So I'm just gonna go around the bike and get it done occasionally, rinsing this out in case I get any deposits in it. You don't want to transfer the scratches over. And yeah, check back in with you guys in a minute. So These headers are like my pet peeve. I like to keep them clean and they always get so dirty so quick. This brush here does okay cleaning them. You give them a good scrub. You can see it takes off most of the grime and gets them back to shiny. I think in the future, maybe another couple thousand miles, I might take like some 2000 grit to them to see if I can get a little bit more of the polish out of them. But simple green and the nylon brush does get probably these headers probably back to 90% of what they were. So now front of the engine too, it kind of bugs me because there's just a lot of buildup and stuff in there. So but yeah, just get your brush in there and scrub away. And as the bike starts to dry, you guys will start seeing the areas that you missed and that kind of stuff. So this is much better than pressure washing. This is kind of an intimate time with your bike. All right guys, we got the scrub down completed. Looking all right. Got the back wheel pretty good. And you can see the back shock back there is looking kind of shiny. And again, this is without a pressure washer, so it's just a little bit of elbow grease. So what we have now is we have our sponge. I've already washed it out, rinsed it out really good. And we got our soap and in here, you know, we don't need a bucket. So you're just gonna put a little bit of soap on your sponge like that. You know, you can kind of massage it in or whatever. And this is all you need, a wet bike and a soapy sponge, and that'll get the trick. And what we're gonna do, you know, we got the bike a little moist on top and whatnot. We're gonna start from the very top and work our way down because the top, you know, overall, the top's gonna be cleaner than the bottom, okay? Like my windshield's gonna be cleaner than my back tire, okay? So we're gonna start with the windshield. This is the easiest part to scratch on the bike, but we got a fresh cloth here. We just rinsed it off. And so yeah, we're just gonna, you know, lightly scrub the windshield, just real lightly. And I don't even touch the inside. I touch the inside when I dry it, so there's no need to really scrub the inside. And then we're just gonna work our way around the bike. And again, going on the shade side. And if you guys see soap starting to dry, get your water hose and rinse the dry soap or the soap off before it dries. And that way you guys don't have to scrub it again. But I'm just gonna go around and get the bike all scrubbed up, all the painted surfaces. I'm not gonna touch this rag down onto the lower surfaces, but at the end I will get the front fender and possibly some of the forks because that is pretty dirty. But like I said, we wanna work our way from the top down. All right guys, we got it all done up here, all rinsed off, soaped up and rinsed off, and we're gonna start the drying process. And I'm just using a regular towel. You guys can use a leaf blower and that works pretty good, but it really only works well if you're using like the ionized water or whatever, so you don't get the spots. And you can also use a chamois too, but you know, this isn't some $25,000 Ducati that I'm trying to showboat around town and never ride in the rain. There's a good chance that it's gonna rain again tonight. And like I said in the beginning, this bike needed a wash. And we're doing just a proper wash without using a pressure washer. I wanted to show you guys my technique and all that good stuff. So some people will argue that, oh, you can scratch the paint with a towel and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, guys, I'm not worried about it. This is my commuter bike. I plan to put several miles on this thing and beat the hell out of it until it won't run anymore. So, for when you're drying your bike, start on the opposite side that you did washing. So you want to start on the sun side. Because the whole goal of when you're washing a car or bike is you don't want the water or soap to dry on the bike. So, and what I do is I like to get the towel a little moist before I hit the visor. So you can see the visor's already starting to dry. That sun's kind of warm. So now that I got the towel a little moist, I'm just gonna lightly dry this off here. And that kind of deal. So one thing too, you guys, I always forget, but I didn't forget this time, but don't forget to scrub the back of your mirrors and the mirrors themselves and the hand guards. Those get a lot of debris on them. And I always seem to forget them when I'm washing the bike. So, but yeah, and we'll just lightly wipe down the inside here. We're trying not to scratch this thing. And same with the display here. Just kind of lightly go over it. So I'm gonna wipe this bike down and then check back with you guys and I'll show you the spray wax. One thing you guys can do now, you know, I got the bike pretty much dried off. I got the towel nice and moist. And what you can do with your moist towel now is you can get down in there and get all the spots that we didn't, you know, scrub. I don't really, like I said, I don't really blast this area with water. But now that you have a moist towel, you can go around and kind of wipe things down. You know, down in here, like around your ignition and the top of your triple clamps. You know, areas that don't really get dirty, but they do get dusty and they could use a decent wipe down. So that's another thing you can do. If you're gonna, you can go back over some of the suspension components like the swing arm and stuff and that kind of thing. I recommend using a different towel because you can accumulate some more dirt on the towel. And if you're using this towel only for drying your bike off, you know, you want to keep it clean. So anyways, let's get some wax going. All right guys, so what we have here is, this is Honda brand spray cleaner and polish. I've been using this particular brand for about a year now. It worked really well on my R6, that was black, and then it works well, period. The guys at the shop kind of sold me on it, and they were raving about it. They're like, oh yeah, we use this on everything. We use it to clean our countertops and everything. It's honestly, it's quite amazing. You can see a night and day difference when you apply it. It really brings out the shine and cleans the paint really well, and it's safe like on all surfaces. So maybe, you know, I've never used this on a matte finish. I have a buddy with a matte bike, and he is so particular about it because, you know, you can't just wax a matte finish bike. But I wouldn't doubt if this worked okay on a matte finish. I'm not recommending you do that or whatever, but basically give it a little shake or whatever, and I just, you know, try to put some, just trying to cover the whole paint with it, okay? And what we're gonna do, oops, the cat fell off. What we're gonna do is you wanna use a clean, I use old t-shirts, you know, you wanna use a clean cotton rag, something that's soft, and you're just gonna kind of rub it in, okay? And you'll see that haze on the paint, right? And you're just kind of rubbing that all in, and it's gonna be all hazy, okay? And then what you're gonna do is, and you can, if you read the directions, you can let it sit and kind of dry like I am right there. It just takes a couple seconds, especially in the sun, for it to dry. And you're gonna flip your rag over and you're gonna buff it out. And you'll feel it in the rag. You'll feel it get really, really slick and smooth. And you can kind of see, how shiny it gets. I mean, and that's basically it. And we're just gonna go around and hit the painted surfaces, just basically the red and the silver portions there, and bring out a little more shine. And it puts a little bit of protective coating on it, and you'll actually see the water bead up on it. And that'll last you, you know, for a couple weeks at least, if not a month, until you wash your bike again with the, you know, the detergent soap that we're using, which strips wax. So if it, like I said in the beginning, it's okay to use that soap if you plan on putting a little bit of wax on afterwards. So I'm gonna get this thing shined up. All right guys, we got it all shined up, looking pretty, ready to go get dirty again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are still watching and you're not subscribed, why don't you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out and all that good stuff. If you guys have any video suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. I do have more videos lined up, just a matter of getting them done and all that good stuff. So anyways guys, until next time, Oregon Motorcycle.